Hello, everyone. You know, most people spend years and sometimes decades planning for the financial side of their retirement. They run the numbers, interview advisors, run Social Security. They look at tax rates. They put their portfolio together, making sure they don't run out of money. And then one day they're retired. And then within a few months, something strange starts to happen. They feel a little uncertain, a little lost. They feel off and they don't know why. Well, we're going to talk about a topic that most advisors don't talk to their clients about, and that is the emotional side of retirement. So, for example, I'm sitting across from a client pretty recently, and Doug and his wife Mary were retiring, and I'm putting the package together for Doug and Mary, and taxes, Social Security, healthcare, income planning, everything, and there's no question unanswered. And at the end of it, I said, "Okay, Doug, how are we feeling? Mary, how are we feeling?" And Doug looks at me with this blank stare and says, "Daniel, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself." And that phrase to me in this practice has been so common as I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. And it's so prevalent in the retirement community that John Hopkins and the National Council on Aging did a study. And they found there are 5 distinct stages in the emotional process of retirement. And one's the pre-retiree who can't wait to leave. They cannot wait to get out, right? They're burnt out, they're ready to go. Then there's the honeymoon phase, where now I'm gone. I can do all the things I always wanted to do. I can sleep a little later. I can have lunch with friends, whatever that list is. And then all of a sudden, something strange starts to happen. They start to get disenchanted, meaning they got a sense of loss, professional loss, social loss. Their calendar's completely empty. The social environment they were in was all work related, and they don't know what's happening and why they feel this way. And what they found in the same study is that not that retirement is bad, absolutely not, but these feelings are real. And a lot of times those feelings are based on identity, because our identity for so many years, especially in this country, is identified with our profession, right? So, when's the last time you were at a dinner party or some kind of event and you had a conversation with someone? What's the first or second question they ask you? What do you do? And when you retire, it's not just your calendar that changes, it's the answer to that question. And so many people's identity is wrapped up in their profession. And it's a real crisis for some people. It's an identity crisis because now that profession is no longer existing. I'm retired. And so I think what people need to start asking themselves isn't, what do I want to do in retirement? It's who I want to be in retirement. And because this can also, if you not have answers to those questions and you start to feel this way, lost, uncertain, you can have a real sense of depression. Now, I'm not saying that retirement causes depression, but there are correlations where depression has gone up in retirees. I have clients that are generally happy about being retired. They love it. But there are some folks who are dealing with this. So that transition is a tough transition for some people. And so when you get into this situation, if you're noticing someone you love who is depressed, it may not look what you think it's going to look like. They're not crying themselves to sleep or sleeping all day. It could mean, they're drinking a little too much. They're not sleeping at all. Maybe they're sleeping too much, right? They're not engaged as they used to be in social activities that they used to love to do. They're a little more irritable than normal. If these are signs that you're seeing, either in yourself perhaps, or someone you love, it's okay to ask for help. This is not a weakness. It's an emotional response to something you did for 20 or 30 or 40 years, right? It's a big transition. Now, if you haven't retired yet and you're starting to plan, what I suggest is start looking at some of the aspects of what your retirement's going to look like, right? And ask yourself that question about the emotional retirement, if you may have that kind of response. And we've talked about some of the things that you can look at and address. But let's talk about what the solution is. And what we try to do is help people, especially our clients, look at the solution. And one of them is build a routine. You live by a routine when you were working, build a new routine. Stay connected to people. We are social animals. Not everyone wants to be around people. That's a general, thing, but most people want to stay connected. Stay connected if you're a people person. Find ways to be of service, folks. The people that we see that thrive in retirement, they are of service, whether it's your church, your synagogue, your hospital, Be of service to someone else. Keep learning, whether it's a new instrument, a new language. Keep your mind sharp. Physical exercise. So many of our clients who are thriving in their 80s, upper 70s and 80s, they're physically active. And finally, ask for help, ask for support. That is not a weakness to ask for help, and you're not alone. Now, we've done videos like this before that had nothing to do with financial planning. And someone asked me, well, what does that have to do with your financial planning aspect? Well, I think the financial planner and the client relationship matters. And the reason it matters is because when that financial situation in your life is answered, do I have enough money? What are taxes going like that? When all those things are answered, now you can really start focusing on the emotional, turbulence that could be a part of your retirement. Instead of thinking if the market goes down, it becomes a crisis, or the expense that you didn't expect now becomes a catastrophe. All those questions have been answered, and you don't have to deal with those things. And now it alleviates us. You get a sense of security because of that. And now you can deal with some of the aspects of retirement you didn't see coming. Okay. So we like to ask real pertinent questions, like not just how much money you have. It's more of, what do you want your retirement to look like? What's a perfect retirement look like to you? What's important to you? What do you want to do in retirement? What keeps you up at night? These are the questions that once they're answered, it allows the advisor to build a better portfolio and a better plan for you, and help you be more at ease in your retirement years, so you can deal with aspects that you didn't see coming, like the emotional retirement. Okay, so this is so of course, be prepared for emotional journey. Have the good questions, and also find out who you want to be in retirement, not what you want to do. Okay, so if any of this resonates with you, you'd like to reach out, you can reach me at daniel.jones@aprfinancialgroup.com or 704-564-7060. We would love to hear from you. I hope you got some information from this video that can help. Have a wonderful day.